This is GerotheHero, and this is my review of Drifters episode 11. Now, I'm not going to take back the fact that the last episode was pretty boring because it was, but at least in this episode, they kind of finally explain that yes, there is a reason for all the things that they've done, which kind of feels like a side thing, but in the end, it's for a reason. So, the Count basically helps the Drifters sneak into the capital, so there's not as much fighting and they can take over really quickly. It's funny the little exchanges that they've made to basically get in and get all these carriages that are carrying all the dwarves and the elves and all the Drifters. So eventually they get inside, and the Count basically talks to the politicians that are in control of Ort, and he's basically trying to explain them very plainly, this was a good experiment in this government, but it's just not going to work. We need to just close shop. We're going to start all over. The Drifters are basically going to take over this place, and the politicians just don't get it. So they basically have to explain that the Drifters are here. We've already taken over. We've gotten all the guards. We've taken over. So that's it. So what eventually happens is that Rasputin shows up in like a vision, and explains that he still has control over the politicians. Um, but what he doesn't get is that Toyisha doesn't care about politics or any of that. He's just gonna like destroy all their enemies, and he in fact beats up and almost kills the guy that was being controlled by Rasputin, and explains that, you know what, we're just going to destroy all the enemies that you bring at us. It doesn't matter. We are going to take over this place. And Toyisha personally kills all these goblins that come in and like destroys all of them. And it kind of spoils Rasputin's plan, so you kind of tell that he's getting frustrated. It's kind of interesting that the Count kind of knows what's up, even though he kind of at first seems like a really goofy character. He seems to know what's going on. He knows all the Drifters' past as far as their historical area. I think mostly because he's probably from a future period. They kind of explain that, but not really. But also he has pretty aware of what the plans are. But it's funny, at one point, Nobunaga kind of makes fun of him because he tells him, for all your knowledge, you didn't get that now that you've spoiled their plan in trying to conquer Ort, they're just going to go and destroy everything. And we get a little exchange between Rasputin, that basically now the plan's changed to just destroying Ort and everything involved with it. They get an order from the Black King basically saying, if you can't control that area, if you can't conquer it back, then just destroy it. Make it so they can't use it. So now they're turned into a battle where they have to basically defend the town and deal with these goblins that are coming toward the town. And it's interesting because at this point, Nobunaga's already set up where he has a bunch of muskets, and now he's going to use the Count's forces to basically be musketeers, basically. It's funny because the Count's men are supposedly all these, like, the best people, and they're the strongest. But for some reason, they all don't have shirts. It's implied that they're all basically gay, but who cares? But it's just funny because, like, it's only 100 troops. They all kind of like look very handsome, basically, and it's funny because Nobunaga kind of makes fun of the Count. Like, no wonder you only found 100 troops, because they all kind of look the same to your taste, basically, and he kind of chastises them about it. But anyways, they go forward, and we find out that they're pretty good soldiers. They know how to march and listen to orders and all that. So we have this set up to where it's very planned out. The musketeers that are humans are going to be the front point. They're going to take out all the guards, the front people, the front line, and it's going to pretty much scare them just the way Nobunaga envisioned. That a gun is very scary, it's very effective, the fire and the smoke, and it's very psychological. So they take out the front line, and then of course Toisha he's going to be the front lines with the dwarves, and then Yoichi's going to be the side support with the archers. So it's very planned out. It does exactly what Nobunaga was saying. It scares the goblins that are in the front lines. Yoichi follows it up with the airstrike of arrows that rains upon them. And then, of course, Toisha goes and charges the remaining forces. But, of course, that's where it leaves off. We know that it's going to be a direct confrontation between the Ends and the Drifters. It was a pretty fast-paced episode for the most part, and it kind of made up for the previous episodes, because it's kind of like, okay, all this stuff was a lead up, so we could, basically wipe out the Ort Empire and not have to deal with that. So now we just need to focus on the Ends now. We don't have to deal with these two things at the same time. So hopefully this next episode will be a really good battle between the Ends and the Drifters directly. We'll have to see what happens with that. And then if we're going to get any kind of indication that there's a second episode, because I know there's a lot of manga material. So we'll just have to see if they actually say an announcement, or it's just going to be, we'll have to guess when there is one day, or if there even is going to be another season. Overall, I thought it was a really strong episode. So like always, comment below, subscribe, and follow me on Twitter, and I will see you next time.